because they're people who have ideas and they're up and they're looking out over the land and it's amazing and it's incredible and I've seen this and this and that and they're inspired and they're chaotic and they're brilliant and amazing. And I'm the person on the ground that says, hey, come on down, tell me what you saw. Now let's actually figure out a way to take all that brilliance out of your head, give it a shape and a structure, and then let it do its thing down here so you can go back up. So
interesting.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, and even $100,000 weeks. Before Purple Circle, I've grown several 7- and 8-figure career coaching businesses myself, and have been a consultant at 2 career coaching businesses that are doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Welcome to another episode of Career Coaching Secrets Podcast. I'm your host, Rexhen, and today's guest is Helena Holrick, founder of Helping You Shine and a transformational coach known for guiding creative entrepreneurs through times of transition with clarity, courage, and joy. For over a decade, Helena has supported visionaries, change makers, and overwhelmed creators in shaping their ideas into structured, soul-aligned businesses, helping them succeed as themselves by unlocking their brilliance, building systems that work, and taking inspired action that feels both safe and stretching. With a deep belief in the power of connection, creativity, and contribution, Helena offers a unique blend of strategy and soul, whether through one-on-one coaching, retreats, or her signature Shine framework, cheerleading others into their fullest expression with humor, honesty, and heart. And it's a pleasure for me to have her on the podcast today. Welcome to the show, Helena.
Thank you so much, Rexhen. That's a wonderful intro. Thank you. I'll do my best to live up to all of that.
Thank you. Thank you, Helena. It's a pleasure for us to have you on the show. I wanted to ask, when it comes to your coaching, what inspired you, first of all, to become a coach and then start your own coaching business?
Wow. So the short version is I have always wanted to help people do things in a way that's effective and efficient. When I was 4 years old, there is a story that goes around that I was the one in the sand pit that was helping other children build sandcastles properly in that whole, no, this isn't an effective and efficient way of doing it. Apparently I was doing that at the age of 4. So training is the thread that ran through my life, throughout the whole of my life. So essentially I've been asking good questions ever since I was little. I was one of those annoying children that was like, why that? See that? They do this. And that really, I've learned how not to be annoying, and I've learned how to take that skill and really turn it into coaching. So training, Helena the trainer was kind of the moniker right up until I left the fire brigade. At that point, I really had, in around about 2006, I actually started really looking at all the communication training that I'd been doing. It was turning itself into coaching. I was just naturally coaching and guiding people because I was just learning names for the things that I'd been doing for years. And it just meant that actually just getting the best out of people by asking them questions and giving them great space is what I'm really good at. And so it was a natural leap in 2011 to just start by myself.
And so when we think about the people that you're working with, how would you describe the ideal client profile? Is it of a certain industry, certain demographic? Do they have some commonalities in their goals? How would you describe the ideal client profile if they're listening?
Do you know what? They're usually people who are in some kind of deep transition, and they are usually in what I would call sort of, so I tend to see people through their deep transitions through kind of 4 core stages. They are hiders, they hesitate, they begin to hone, and then they honor whatever it is inside themselves. So I tend to attract the hiders and the hesitators, and even some of the honers, because they get attracted to the programs that I run. But many of the people that I work with have big dreams, but have had either, sort of difficult kind of upbringing that meant that they had to play small, or that they just kind of hung out in the background. Success was really for other people, or bigger success or bigger spotlights were for other people. Whereas most of what I do when people are in deep transition, when they want to I've been this identity for a period of time and I want to be that identity. That's a transition, whether it's downsizing, getting a promotion, whether it's getting divorced, or even sort of moving through I really want to share my thought leadership on a wider stage, but I'm terrified of being seen on a stage. So it's really holding and supporting people in those deep transitions. So I affectionately call them my hot air balloons. And I have it on good authority that that's okay, because they're people who have ideas and they're up and they're looking out over the land and it's amazing and it's incredible. And I've seen this and this and that, and they're inspired and they're chaotic and they're brilliant and amazing. And I'm the person on the ground that says, hey, come on down. Tell me what you saw. Now let's actually figure out a way to take all that brilliance out of your head, give it a shape and a structure, and then let it do its thing down here so you can go back up. So
interesting. Thanks for sharing that. And so how is the engagement with the client? For those of them listening, do they go through some sort of a program? Is there a certain program length? How would you describe the engagement?
So it depends. It can be anything from like a 2-hour sounding board session where somebody just has one thing they're stuck on. How do I translate this thinking that I've got into a short online course? Or how do I write the email sequence that really gets to the heart of other people? So I use a lot of tools and techniques as I see things over the years. I am forever inventing things that help people think more clearly, because most of my people are brilliant and chaotic and they move around far too quickly. So I have to create little things that allow them to do it. So we go anywhere from a 2-hour sounding board session right the way through to, I'm great at building community. So I'll say something about that in a moment. That's not big headed. That's just I have a group of 14,000 people, sort of like that are speakers, authors, and coaches. And it's because we're really good at developing relationships with people. So it goes from the sounding board session right the way through to, a program that uses my signature shine framework, sort of the shine effect, which is called Trust Yourself to Start Anew. So again, we're on deep transitions. Most people have trusted themselves in one scenario, but they now, when they step into something new, they need to be able to trust themselves entirely differently. The first talk I ever did was called Confidence Happens in Context. And actually, Trust Yourself to Start Anew is the 3-month program that allows me to handhold somebody through the transition from that identity to this identity using that shine framework.
And right now, where do people find you in terms of marketing? What is working very well for you?
It is word of mouth, and that word of mouth is prompted by me, sort of like, I think as a coach, and even as someone who is looking for a change, the more vocal you are about asking for what you need, the easier it is for people to go, oh, that's what you need? I can do that, And so it's like when I say, who do you know that actually is moving through something that they're finding hard? Inevitably, it usually takes 2 or 3 weeks, and usually a nudge or two from me over that period of time for people to go, do you know what? I'm going to put you in touch with my friend Mary or Joe or whatever. And sure enough, they come along. And what I say to people, and this kind of answers the question that you asked just before as well, I fondly call most of my ideal clients the slow ones. And by that, I mean they're stuck, they're lost, they're overwhelmed, or they're just weirded out by the world. They just need a safe place to land whilst they actually navigate the next waters or even strategize together. So I'm very much a thinking partner for those people. And so referrals is one. As I mentioned, I have a community and a network of, I think it's 14,500 people now. That's a great pond and pool where I've done a lot of teaching. That was a company I co-founded with somebody else called Speaker Insight, which we unfortunately had to fold because of illnesses and various things. But the community still exists. And so many people, because I provide a lot of these thinking tools, many people actually come to me just because of the consistency. So I would say the second thing is consistently showing up in a way that is myself and talking about, because so many people don't do this. They don't talk about what they do. Well, how do people know? You need to let people know what they do. In fact, I created a tool called Known for Seen As exactly for this reason, because people expect other people to mind read what they do. And I'm like, well, how are they supposed to do that? Because if you've nailed how to do that, you could make a lot of money. But that's not possible. So Known for Seen As really helps somebody to just think through, what do I want to be known for? What do I want people to be saying about me? And then what do I want to be seen as? How do I want people to describe me? You know, in the 3 or 4 adjectives that are she's kind, listens well, and supports people, whatever it takes. If those are the things you want people to actually be saying about you when you're not in the room, then you need to be saying those things or demonstrating those things or getting other people to say those things. So it's really, yeah, that's what I would say. It's word of mouth, it's consistently showing up, and it's putting the words that you want other people to say about you into their mouths so that they say those things.
Interesting. I've never seen that perspective. So working on what others are saying when you're not in the room, and obviously if they said something good, it definitely works to your advantage. Not that you would like care if they're gossiping or not, but it's like just opportunities that might arise because of like good conversations that they say about you, and how some good opportunities might just get lost by the things that they might say is not right for you.
I used to run for about 5 years or so, I ran a business wealth club, a monthly networking thing, which was awesome to just have a collection of like-minded, like-hearted people together. And one of the things I would do every now and then, everybody would do their sort of 60-second, this is who I am, you know, is there commonality somewhere within us? But just to kind of spice it up a little bit every now and then, I'd be like, well, most of you in this room know each other. So look at the person to your left and now do their introduction for them. So it's like, and that was a really fun thing to do, because the people who nailed that piece of this is who I am on a regular basis with consistency, they would actually be able to be represented very well by somebody else, because those people had heard what they said over and over. So that just makes sense. One of the other things I run is a co-working coaching session for the more entrepreneurial people that I coach, called the Shine and Rise Business Cafe. And I inevitably make them do their pitch, but I will either change it up, or I will make them do each other's, or I will get them to do the latest testimonial that's in there, because you have to vary it but not go too far away from what you're saying. And so even if you're in the middle of a career change, you still need to be representing yourself as the slightly aspirational self, because many people, this is a mistake that people make, quite opinionated. So I'm just going to go with that. I'm owning that. And in order to get the best out of themselves, when you're in a career change, let's say you're moving towards a promotion, most people still show up as they have been, rather than the them that they aspirationally want to be. So they don't show up at the C-suite level, even though that's the job that they're going for. So normally what I would do whether it's in a sounding board or over a period of time where we're developing the clarity and confidence in them, it's about really saying, okay, well, who are you wanting to be represented as? So it's not so much so in that exercise of known for, seen as, what are you actually known for and seen as at the moment? What do you aspirationally want to be known for and seen as? And then what at no time do you want to be known for and seen as? And that essentially is the exercise. So if anybody is listening that actually is going, how do people think of me? How do I want to be thought of? Just do that. Get yourself a piece of paper, line down the middle, actual known for, seen as, aspirational known for, seen as, at no time known for, seen as. That's my gift.
Interesting. And what is a way to get started in changing the narrative for how other people see you?
I'm back to consistency. Dare I say it? Reach out to people that you've had success with. Get them to say it. Rexhen, you did a beautiful introduction to me that I'm like, there are some things you said in there that I'm now going to start saying about me, because that actually really rang true for who I'm showing up as now. And I'd forgotten to put those into the introductions that I've actually got. So a lot of it is keying into, listening to what makes you feel good, and how people are speaking about you. So it's partly what you're saying, it's partly what they're saying, and it's you then focusing on how you want to be seen. It's ownership, really.
Oh, that is so beautiful. And so right now, to switch the focus back into the business,
For sure.
what is a goal looking to the future for the next 1 to 3 years? Do you have any specific goals for your coaching business?
I do.
What would you say, thinking about those goals, what is a challenge that you're trying to solve for next to kind of get closer to those goals?
I love that you asked this question, because and I know that people who are in transition go through this. And so I am a walking, talking demo of me needing someone like me, right? And every coach needs a coach for where they need to and want to go. So I am going to be launching a community called Fire Up and Feel Alive in September, in kind of mid-September. Fire Up and Feel Alive is really the culmination of all those stuck, lost, overwhelmed, weirded out people that actively want to come together. So whether they are stretching into opening a business, whether they're moving out of corporate, whether they are just people, normal humans who have ambition, because I definitely work with ambitious people, people who want to shift and change either something in themselves or in their lives or in the world and the planet. That set of people need a safe space where they can really come home to, where they can understand where they're coming from, and that grounds them. So Fire Up and Feel Alive is exactly that. It's about how can you hang out in a space where you've got like-hearted, like-minded people that actively allow themselves to stretch a little. You said in my introduction that I help people stretch and safely. That's what Fire Up and Feel Alive is. Do not play small. Do not hold back. And with every iteration that we do, so now on to the challenges, I've been holding back. I've been hiding. I've been hesitating. I've been flopping about and going, who am I to bring this one in? And I'm having to read Marianne Williamson's, sort of beautiful, Our Deepest Fears every day. I've actually reread Tara Moore's Playing Big book. Highly recommend if you're suffering from small-itis, which I am at the moment. That's where it is. And honestly, the way to do it for me is always, and it's not true for every human, so I'm going to say that because I see that all the time. People say, yes, just put a date in the diary and go do it. And it's like, that's not quite how it works for some people. So we have to honor that. But for me, it absolutely is a mid-September, everything will be done. But part of that for me is that it's actually ready to go by the end of August, because I can't do the thing where it's like build the plane on the way down. It's not how I operate. It's not how I strategically, it freaks me out. And so I won't do it. And because I've been hiding and hesitating and flopping about and doing some, I need to journal on that. No, Helena, you just need to go and do the work, So it's that. So I got help. I got some coached help a little while back, and now I'm like, great, I get it, the world needs it, and that's how I need to do it. I get beyond my challenges when I know I'm hiding and hesitating. I know that what I need to do is I need to make it bigger than me. So I know that the world absolutely is full of thought leaders, inspirational people who are playing small or feeling unsafe to actually step out. And I know, certainly with the Shine framework, I know that I've got a space for them. And I'm going to indulge myself here, one of the key things that we're going to be doing on a weekly basis during Fire Up and Feel Alive is what I call the Mad, Sad, Glad, Prouds. So we're actually going to have like a breakout room where people come together as a community online, because it is global. I've already got 10 people kind of like going, so when are we opening the doors? Come on now, because again, handpicking those people. And it's about actually being able to claim in a safe space what's made me mad this week, what's made me sad, what's made me glad, what's made me proud, and what am I grateful for? Because those are the conversations that most people don't have. People don't go deep enough, and many people long to, but there's not a space to do that. So that's what Fire Up and Feel Alive is all about. But yeah.
And so that's what's coming up right now. And do you see any challenges with it so far? What is a challenge you're trying to solve for next?
So the biggest challenge for me actually is the definition. It's an age-old one. The definition of the ideal client for this. So I gave myself permission to actively make it for the stuck, lost, overwhelmed, and weirded out, or weary. Sometimes it's just the weary. Sometimes they just need a resting space, to actually really land on that as the ideal client avatar. And now I'm doing a lot of just research around how well will that land? Can I do that in ads? Can I do that, sort of by word of mouth? How does that actually go down? So my biggest challenge is actually identifying the avatar for it, because I know so many people need it, but just because I know people need it doesn't mean I can communicate it well. So it's those two things: identifying really truly who's going to land on it and who's going to want it, and then the language that I need to actually do it, which I believe is the age-old trick for most coaches and what they do.
Yeah. Well, so interesting when you think about it. And yeah, nailing that down is going to help you a lot to market it later on. As you know, as a marketer itself, obviously having a niche makes it just easier to speak to that audience.
For sure.
So I also wanted to ask you, and this is actually the final question, is for other coaches that are thinking of scaling their impact, is there any advice you'd give to those coaches?
Yeah. First, I'm going to make everybody who's listening really question, really solidify why they want to scale. Absolutely. I mean, I know we go back to start with why, but the reason that start with why is such an important one is that on the nights where 2 a.m. you are still sitting there kind of, whatever it is that's got you frustrated, you have to be able to go bigger than yourself, bigger than anything else, in order to keep the motivation going. So for some people, that's intrinsic. For some people, that's really know yourself well enough to know why you're doing this. And it's enough to not talk it out with anyone. For other people, it's about really going wide and going, well, if this didn't exist, or if even worse, if somebody else did this, and how many people do we know that have done this one? Say, but I had that idea 4 years ago. Say, yeah, but you didn't do anything about it, or you stayed small enough, or you hid for long enough for somebody else to do what you wanted to do. And by the way, it doesn't matter if somebody else has done it, because you're still going to do it differently. So I'm still giving you permission. A lot of what I do, Rexhen, is actually give people permission until they give themselves permission. So that's kind of fun, but it's that piece that would be what I'm inviting, is just do the thing where you know yourself well enough to know what's motivating you, so that you can get beyond the terrible nights.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Helena. It's lovely to have you on the podcast as well. So thank you so much for taking the time to come today. And for anyone who wants to connect with you or find you, they can go into LinkedIn. They'll be able to look you up, Helena Holrick. They'll find you there. And there's also, I think, the website helpingyoushine.com.
Helpingyoushine.com, and if not, helenaholrick.com. Both of them go to the same place. It's nice and easy. Tell me what you found most useful. Just pop me an email, helena@helpingyoushine.com. Tell me what you found useful, and go and put something into action, because I am all about it's all well and good to listen. And sometimes we need to listen and have it land from one more person, so that you actually go, I can do that. Put it into action. Do something with it. That's magic. That's where the magic really is.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Helena. And thank you so much for coming to the show again.
You're welcome. It was a great joy.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This podcast was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, or even $100,000 weeks, all without burning out and making sure that you're making the impact and having the life that you want. To learn more about our community and how we can help you, visit joinpurplecircle.com.